getting something out is better than nothing. But if you can be deliberate and you can think about, okay, this video is for this person and this is what's going to get them to stop scrolling.
Welcome to the Modern Marketing Loan Officer Podcast, brought to you by the Shining Star Hero Home Buying Program. Each week, successful loan officers share their experiences so that you can grow your mortgage business. Here's your host, Enrique Braunschweiger.
Hey everybody, how are you? Enrique here with First West Financial, and I want to welcome you to another episode of the Modern Marketing Loan Officer Podcast. And I am very, very excited today. The Modern Marketing Loan Officer Podcast is all about marketing for loan officers. And ever since I decided that I was going to do this, I knew that I wanted to have this guy as a guest. I knew he was going to be on top of my list because of everything that he's doing, not only because he's doing it for his own business, but he's also helping and sharing with other loan officers. So I am very excited to welcome Ryan Ehler from the Ryan Ehler Mortgage Team in Arizona. You're in Gilbert. Ryan, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, Enrique. Thanks for having me on. We've known each other for a while now, and super pumped that you got your podcast up and running, and you had to have me on. I know we're going to talk about video. So look at this. Nothing is ever perfect. I'm looking at my screen, and I didn't zoom myself in enough. So this is like a little learning experience for everybody on the fly. Look at that. Now my little thing's not in frame, so I want to show people that.
We can really tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. It's funny because we're going to be talking about video and we're going to be talking about what to do and not to do. But, I'm going to tell you, part of the reason why I decided to do this podcast is because I'm just a regular guy. My job and what I know is I know how to do mortgages, right? I know how to do mortgages, but this business requires me that I'm not only good at doing mortgages, but I got to be good at marketing. I got to be good at sales. I got to know accounting. I got to know human resources. I had all these things. And even though I am very fortunate to have a team now that's helping me with a lot of these different areas, the average loan officer, the person out there, a lot of people, they're just a one-person team and they got to be able to step up and do things. So, Ryan, before we begin talking about video and we begin talking about more, marketing, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about your story, about your family. You have an amazing family, an amazing background. Take it away, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the people that don't know me, I'll do a quick little rundown. I've only been in mortgage for about 4 years, so I'm a baby in the industry. I used to own a gym, and one of our long-term clients was in mortgage, and he was like, man, you should get in with your marketing skills. You should come and do what I do. And I was like, no. And he kept pushing me. So finally one day I transitioned over, and wow, that was an awakening, like having to start a business all over again because I had something I've been doing for 10 years and had to start back from scratch. But because of my background, I was able to get up and running very quickly. So within under 2 years, we went from doing zero volume, no one knew us in loans, to being top performers. And it's all because of video. And the funny thing is in the first 2 retail shops that I worked at, they pretty much laughed me out of the building for wanting to do video and spending so much time on video. And until I made it to the broker world where it was just like, hey, you're free, do your thing. This is your business. You run it. That's when things just exploded. Jessica and I started working on our brand tenfold, more videos, more production, putting stuff out there, and pretty much just went from nothing to, sometimes we can't really mentally perceive how well things are going, and we're just excited to, where it goes in the future.
Absolutely. Now, you and I have a lot of things in common, but one of the things we have in common is that both of us run a business with our spouses, right? So yes. My wife has been with me since the very beginning, 15 years now in the business, originating. Now she runs all of the administrative side of the operation. And so she's not involved in loans anymore, but your wife is actually involved in the operations side of it, right? She actually is very, very involved in the loan side of it.
I'm super lucky. I am the sales and marketing guy. So that's what I put 100% of my effort in. So I'm lucky in that facet where, like you said, most people are having to wear all the hats, and we've just divided and conquered. So I do all, she has amazing ideas. I just implement. So we brainstorm on what we should do in terms of marketing. I put it together. I make it happen. I take the initial phone calls. And then once they become put an application in, she pretty much takes it to close. I only get involved, if things get a little rocky or good news, bad news, she doesn't really like that part of it. So I'm still kind of the people person part. And she just takes care of all the back end.
Very interesting. You know what? I'm very encouraged about what you're saying. And you know what? A lot of people tell me, it's like, how do you work with your spouse? I have an amazing wife, and she is a big part of our success. And I can tell you, it's not for everybody. It's working really
Right.
well for me. I know it's working really, really well for you. You're raising kids as well. I actually raised my
Yeah.
children in the mortgage business. Now one of them's in college,
Nice.
the other one is married and a grown man. But it's just an amazing thing. Now, the way you and I connected is we connected because I started watching your videos online, and I started looking at what you were doing. And I was already dabbling in video. And even though I already have a successful mortgage business, it was very easy for me to identify a few years back that video was going to be the ticket that was actually going to take me to the next level. And it actually has. So I started connecting with you. I started sending you messages, and you have always been very generous with the information and your knowledge. And you, even though the video is not your background, through trial and error, just like all of us, right? And now you are at a level where video has become the number one part of your marketing. So we really like that.
Right.
So today we're going to actually not talk a lot about operations. We're not going to talk a lot about loans. We're actually going to talk about video marketing. And I'm very, very interested in talking to you about what the average person, and I don't like to say average because no one's average, but the typical
Right.
loan officer that is working with maybe one or two people in the team, maybe a processor, maybe they have an assistant of some kind. They're cranking, 10, 15, 12, 9 loans a month, and they want to get to the next level, and they see video as an opportunity, and then somewhere along the way they stop, right? They get scared or something happens. So every single week I get a phone call or an email or a message, and someone said, man, I just love your videos. Someday I'm going to do this, right? And then, of course, someday never comes. So, Ryan, how did you get started with video? What was it that really got your attention? And was it difficult? Was it hard? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, 10 years ago. So when I had the gym, I opened up a new location. Nothing was happening. Nobody was coming in the door. I was about to go bankrupt. So I took some courses on marketing, and video was pretty new back then. So I just doubled down on video and started there. And then I just transitioned those skills into mortgage. And I think the number one thing that people maybe overlook is basic marketing knowledge. If you just go out and make videos, they probably aren't going to work that well. Can you get some traction? Sure. But you have to have a structure of what your marketing is doing and have a very specific intent for what each video is supposed to do. What do you want it to do for your business? And so what I always recommend people to do is think about who is your best ideal client that you can help the most. And that's who you should make all of your content towards. So if you're doing down payment assistance, first-time home buyers, that's your thing, then 90% of your content should be geared towards those people. If you help veterans and that's the bulk of your business, then 90% of your content should be towards veterans. And then just go down the list: jumbos, conventional, cash out refinances, like whatever it is you think is the biggest opportunity for you, your business, and your clients. That's where you should structure your videos. Now, once you're putting videos into practice, you have to think, about yourself. When you're consuming content, what gets you to stop scrolling? Every one of your videos needs to have something within the first 3 seconds that gets
A
people to
showstopper,
stop.
right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to. And I've been bad at this for a long period of time because I was busy. So getting something out is better than nothing. But if you can be deliberate and you can think about, okay, this video is for this person and this is what's going to get them to stop scrolling. And I see you do this a lot with your whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll write a message or something that you'll hold up in front, and then that gets people to stop scrolling. You have it right there, right? Yep.
I was just doing
that's
a zero
something that
down payment thing, right?
Yep. And this is something that I'm probably going to implement on the days that I don't have time to go do the crazy edits. Because what I'll do is I'll do visual effects that get people to stop. But what you're doing is a great way to do it with zero effort other than writing on a board. And so I'm going to start implementing that as well, learning from you on days where I don't have time to put an elaborate video together, but I want to stop people. And that's a way to stop people in their tracks because it's something that they're not used to seeing. And then the video needs to deliver very concise, short, sweet, and concise on social media what you're promising in that showstopper. So if you promise them 0 whatever, then within the first 5 to 8 seconds, he needs to tell them what that means and what they're going to get out of the video.
Gotcha.
If you want to roll an intro, make sure that it's not more than 4 seconds long, and then you get right into the meat of what you promise them.
Because if you don't deliver it, going deeper into the actual video itself, I want to go back and unpack a little bit of what you said. So the person that is listening to this says, okay, well, I don't know where to start. So that's the first place to start. What Ryan just said is look at what your message wants to be. If you are marketing to veterans, if you're marketing to teachers and educators, or if you're a first-time buyer guy, or if let's say you're in Orange County or San Diego and you have phenomenal jumbo product, right? Or you're in certain parts of the East where you can do difficult deals, that is, or you say in Florida and you're in the condo business, you first have to identify what is that message that you want to convey. Because otherwise you're just going to start going in every direction and you're not going to be able to master anything. So the first thing is figure out what the message is. Once you know the message, that makes it easier for you to say, well, if my message is veterans, today I want to talk about, veteran loans, or I want to talk about veteran rates, or I want to talk about, funding fees. What is the funding fee? What are the requirements?
Right.
And you just start talking about that specific individual subject. Now, what is the platform? Before we talk about individual stuff and how do we record and all that stuff, and we're not going to get too technical on it, but what is your favorite platform and what would you recommend for the typical loan officer that wants to get started? Where do we start? I know I do a lot of Facebook, some Instagram, and then I do YouTube, and I know you do a little bit of everything, but tell us, if you are limited in resources and time, maybe you're not as creative yet, maybe you don't have that technical savvy, and you just want to begin somewhere, what is that place?
For me, it's always been Facebook. It's just the fastest method from putting content up to closing deals. Instagram would probably be second to that. And the key is short and sweet on these platforms. Somewhere between 30 and 90 seconds. Deliver the content. Don't go on a bunch of tangents. Don't make it 10 minutes long. Save that for YouTube. YouTube is something that I'm venturing into, but it's harder for me because I've conditioned myself so hard to being able to get content out quickly within, 30 to 120 seconds, that now I have to go long form and dive deeper into content for YouTube because they're looking for 8 to 12 minute videos. So this has been a tough transition for me going into YouTube. So now what I do is I'll just post my 1 or 2 minute videos, even though it's not optimized for YouTube. Well, you know what? It's content going up. It's getting out there. And then when I have time to make a longer video, I do. So if you want to get into it, social media is the easiest way because you can just go crank out a 1 minute video and get traction on that. And if you don't have like 4,000 or 5,000 Facebook friends, now's the time to start adding 20 a day of people that are friends of friends of your local market, and stay away from adding lenders, title, and then realtors that you have no desire to work with.
Right. So
that
you have to know
kills
your
the
audience.
algorithm.
Yeah. So in other words, if you are a typical loan officer, you want to get started, you want to start posting some video, Facebook is a great place to do that, right? Now, for a lot of our listeners, depending on the demographic, right? A lot of people watching this, if your demographic is younger crowd, maybe a little on the lower age side, maybe you're in the mid 30s or early 30s. Obviously, Instagram is something you have to look at very closely, and you have to look at it also from not only the Instagram posts, but the Instagram stories. That is a big one, right? My wife, for example, she loves Instagram stories. She doesn't go on Facebook. She goes on Instagram stories, and she follows a ton of people to the point to where she doesn't even really look at Instagram. She just goes in the stories. So that's an area that is very, very easy, very video friendly. And it's also an area where you can just basically click record, post it, and then just people consume it. And then after a day or so, it goes away, right? Are you doing some Instagram as well? Are you doing stories? Is that something that you haven't started yet? Tell us about that.
I try to take all my videos and then I just use an app on the phone that splits the video into 15-second clips. And then I post that into my stories. So the videos that I put out will go into the stories and people can watch through that video. I do have to get better. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, at posting more stuff. Honestly, I'm trying to step back from being on social media so much. So I've had it to where I kind of hide it on my phone, so I'm not constantly on it like doing stuff, just to be more present in what I'm doing. And it's just going to be a test. Does my business go down because I'm not constantly posting other stuff? Like I do try to post personal stuff, even on my business page. Like I want people to know me, my family as people, and not just business, business, business. And that's the key to social media. I
That's a
think any
huge
platform
thing, right?
nowadays.
That is a huge thing. In
Yeah.
fact, I just went to a webinar recently with one of the top realtor coaches, and she was talking about Instagram and Facebook. And she posts very little content now that is actually real estate related. Of course, she goes to an open house or whatever. She talks about building a connection. I think you've done a really, really good job with that, right? Ryan, you and I have never hung out together more than 5 or 10 minutes at a conference. I feel like I
Right.
know you, right? And I feel like I know you because I kind of know your neighborhood where you live, because you go out and take video and I can see the
Yeah.
houses.
Walk around.
I know that you are a little crazy with your bike, and then now you got a motorcycle bike and you like to do all those things.
Yep.
I know that you are
And people
devoted to your
love to see
family.
me crash.
Right, exactly.
They
Your
love to see
wife,
me
your
crash. So they
kids.
watch.
I know your kids. I kind of know about them. I know about the fun things that you guys like to do. And to me, a lot of people go, well, that's kind of creepy. But the reality is, no, I have a connection. So you know what happens? I get referrals in Arizona and I send them to you because I feel like, hey, I know this guy. I know him. Yeah, he's a video expert. Yeah, he's a broker. The whole thing about he probably has good rates doesn't come into play for me when I send a referral your way. I go, you know what? In fact, a couple of days ago, one of my agents said, hey, I need a person in Arizona. I gave him your phone number. I don't know if they called or not, but this is the guy that's going to
They
take
actually
care
just
of you.
called. So yes, thank you.
There you go. And the reason is because I know you, not because I know that you're going to send a loan to this bank or this rate or that rate. I know you're going to take care of them, but it is about the personal connection. So your customers are exactly the same way. Anybody watching this needs to understand that, you can talk about rates all day long, but if they don't feel a personal connection with you, it doesn't matter. So we have to interject our personal stories. People tell me all the time, man, I know you like hiking. I know you have a place down by the beach that you go on weekends. I know that you love Formula One. I know that your kids and your wife, and because they understand me, because they see me, they see who I am as a person. Oh, and by the way, I happen to run a mortgage business and I have phenomenal rates and fast service, right? So we get it backwards sometimes, right? We get so focused on the business side. So for the person watching this that is struggling a little bit on recording videos that are just all about mortgages and what do I say and am I going to be in compliance and what is RESPA and what about the APR, and don't worry about that. Maybe you just need to start talking about yourself and about your business and about what you're doing today or which family you helped, right?
Right. Let me bring up a tip on that is never talk about specific rates. If you're selling rate, you already lost, because there's always somebody lower.
Someone's
They
going
can
to beat
go
you,
online.
right? Correct.
Yeah. So I'll talk about maybe change in rate. Hey, we were able to drop somebody 2 percentage points, and it did this to their life. They were able to save $500 a month, and that freed them up to pay off their debt faster, to have more income every month, to be able to afford a family trip at the end of the year. Like telling those stories are way more valuable than saying, hey, today we're offering 1.75 for a 15-year, blah, 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 APR. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. What is that? You got to talk about what it's going to get them. Like, how has it helped other people in their community? Telling a specific outcome, that connects people.
Absolutely. You couldn't be more accurate about this. And so now in terms of the actual getting started with the video, one of the things that I get a lot, and you probably get this a lot, is that people get paralyzed because first of all, they're intimidated by the way they sound, the way they look. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the tech side of it. But so one of the jokes that I always tell people is people say, man, I don't want to do video. I sound terrible and I look terrible. And I go, listen, people already know what you look like and people already know what you sound like. And they're already doing business with you. Imagine that my assistant Betty called me and says, hey, you have an appointment on the phone with Mary who wants a mortgage. And I said to her, no, I can talk to Mary. I sound terrible, right? That's silly, right? I mean, I would talk to Mary all day long about the mortgage. The same thing happens with video. This is a
Right.
self-imposed block that we have, right? How do people
Yeah.
overcome this, Ryan? Did you have this issue at all? Or is this
Oh
something
yeah.
you have to overcome?
I
Tell me about it.
hate I hate at least one piece of every video that I've ever done. Nothing's going to be perfect, especially if you're a perfectionist like myself. Like, look, I was monkeying with the camera when we started. Don't let those little things like fluster you. It's like, who cares? A little mistake, it makes you real. And you can adjust on the fly, and no one's going to be like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, they don't care. It actually makes you feel real. And like, I don't particularly like my voice. It's really hard to edit it to make it sound good. It's kind of like pitchy in certain ranges, but guess what? That's me. That's who I am. And if someone doesn't like me because of that, well, they're not going to like me either way. So you being different is actually your biggest asset because you're going to attract people that like you for you, and nobody else can duplicate that. That's your uniqueness, and that's what's going to get people to come to you. So I
That's
think it's
exactly right. So people
a
just need
strong
to get
point.
over it then. Basically, that's what you're
Yeah,
telling them.
if you're heavy, if you're skinny, if you're loud, if you're quiet, if you're funny, if you're boring, who cares? Like that's you. The only thing I recommend is whoever you are, amplify it by about 10 to 20% when you're on camera because emotion's hard to come through on a camera. I can't describe it. So we've tried all kinds of different things and just like, hey, let's just be super normal, and it's just very, very slow, boring video. So we amp it up just a bit, and that seems to let our personality shine through, like how we perceive ourselves. And so that's like my biggest tip is don't be somebody different. Just give a little bit extra when you're on camera.
Absolutely, 100%. That was my biggest hang up. I got this little accent because I'm from here and there. And what do I sound like? Now, I was talking to Alan Christian the other day, and he's on one of our podcasts, and he says one of the biggest things that he does is he never goes back and looks or listens to his videos because he
Right.
starts picking them apart. Now, that takes me to the next topic, which I want to talk. We're doing good on time. We have a little bit. There's two things I want to cover. One is I want to talk about the basics of the tech, right? You and I have a little bit of a different approach because I produce a lot of content very fast with low production, right? Now I have a phenomenal video guy who cranks them out, but I'm producing, like right now we just sent him 11 pieces of video to edit, right? So I produce a massive amount. So the production value is small. Not everybody has a production guy. So a lot of them do their own editing. Don't get hung up on that, right? You tend to be a
Right.
little more elaborate and you have the time to do that, but you know that's also sometimes that's a detriment when you want to do a lot of production and a lot of lighting and a lot of sound, and a lot of green screen. Tell us, how do you balance that, or does it even matter?
Right. And so I was getting too hung up on the equipment. I have like, I don't know, $25,000 worth of equipment because it's my hobby. But it was slowing me down. And so now that's why I keep playing with these things. This is the secret sauce for getting things done is get the brand new iPhone or brand new Android. Like, don't be cheap. Get the best one because it's just going to work phenomenally. I don't even need a gimbal. So if you don't own a gimbal, it stabilizes the photo. These things are so good. You just throw it on a selfie stick and you can just walk around, and then you can edit it on your phone with apps where editing means just cutting where you stop talking and then cut it on the next clip where you start. And you can pump out a video in 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, boom, done. And just keep it simple. And there's many times that I do that now. Like if I don't have time to set up my lights and stuff, you just go outside, boom, bring up the phone, good to go. Outside will outperform inside almost 99% of the time because you don't have the echo, you don't have the reverb, you don't have that weird audio stuff. As long
And
as it's not
natural.
windy.
You live in a beautiful place too, so.
Yeah, it's natural. So even if it is cold and dreary and stuff, well, that's what people are seeing. So you're connecting with what they're experiencing at the moment. So outside makes it really easy. In the car is a great spot because it's kind of tighter. It's almost like a sound booth. So I kind of like doing stuff in the car as well. And just don't let the little stuff hang up. You can always get a bigger camera and more equipment and audio and stuff. And a lot of times it's overkill. But the reason I do it is I just want to stand out that little bit different because I'm in a very challenging market. And some of it, I think it's self-imposed just because I like it and it's fun for me. I think I could get away 100% with this.
Oh, yeah.
But don't tell my wife because then she's going to get
Yeah, she's not going to
even
let
more
you
mad
buy
at me
more.
for buying. I can't buy more equipment.
I think we put out, I don't know, 300, 400 pieces of video a year, not counting stories. Every single one of them is recorded with an iPhone. I just upgraded to the 12, but I was using the previous model. In fact, when I got the 12, my video guy says, hey, you need to dial down the quality because the quality is so high. He didn't want me recording in 4K because it's harder to edit.
Harder to edit.
But
Yeah,
we're
the
actually
machines
having
can't
to
handle it.
dumb down the quality. But basically, an iPhone, it's okay to purchase one of these little microphones, right? One of these little microphones that pins right here. Amazon, $20. Maybe a ring light if you're inside. I would say that if you already have a phone, you can probably begin recording good quality stuff with under $60 or $70 between the ring light and a little lapel microphone. Now, for those who are more elaborate and they want to do more, we're going to talk about what options they have and how they can reach out to you, Ryan. You can kind of maybe coach them a little bit more. But the last thing that I wanted to share with you, we have about 5 minutes, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the secret sauce. We know that content is important. We know that you obviously want to have decent content. We know that the equipment is somewhat important, not as important. And we know that the big secret sauce, the important thing is what I tell people is if you're going to focus on one thing, consistency, right? Consistency to 100%. Me is the key. I would rather see someone put out consistent video that may not have a huge production value. It may not have a huge content value. You get positive, valuable content, but that it is consistent. Nothing bugs me more than when I see either a realtor or a loan officer, they record this great video, they spend time, they go get their hair done, they go to a barber, special shave, they buy lights, they rent, and then they put the video out there, and then you go back on their page, and the last video was like January 15, and then prior to that, it was October 12. For me, consistency is key, right? What's your opinion 100%. On that? Tell me about it.
I focus on one quality video per week. And if I get more, cool. But one thought out video that I know is going to impact my business every single week. And then if I threw some little stories and things along, that's just a bonus. If something just pops up or an event or whatever, and I just want to get it out there, then I throw it out there. And I think that's what everybody should strive for. Is I think anybody can budget about 20 minutes a week to put a video together. And really, that's as long as it should take you if you're just picking one topic that you're an expert in. If you've been doing mortgages for more than a year, then you're probably an expert in the ones that you specialize in. So pick one topic. So if you're talking about the VA funding fee, just cover that clear, concise, to the point. Don't tangent off onto anything else. Just cover that. If you're going to tell a story about it, it might run a little bit longer about how someone was going to be charged the funding fee from another bank because they didn't know how VA works. And then we were able to step in and show them like, hey, it was going to cost you $10,000 going with this bank because they weren't going to exclude the funding fee because they didn't look to see what your disability rating was. So that's a cool way to kind of take a topic and turn it into a story, and people will get more involved with. And just talk like you're talking to a friend, like we're just talking now. That's the key to making these videos consumable where people want to keep watching them and they don't just look at you as a salesman.
Yeah, what people want to be able to do is really know that you're there and stay consistent, right? And I think that when you abandon the platform for 2-3 weeks at a time, people sometimes
kills your momentum.
You don't realize that Facebook is moving so fast that if you put out a video and people don't go on Facebook for a day or two, they're probably going to miss it. So if they're not going to see another video from you for 3 weeks, then you don't exist, basically, right? So a combination of video and postings consistently has a tremendous amount of value. We actually took the approach, Ryan, where we do something on schedule. We have a Monday Mortgage Minute that I send only to realtors. I have a video called the Real Estate Marketing Toolbox, also for realtors. And then I do the First Time Buyer channel that goes both on Facebook and YouTube. And then throughout the week, I put different things or, stories. But I've learned that for me, scheduling the recordings and being consistent with it is valuable. Not everybody has the time. Not everybody has the energy. Not everybody has the technology side of it. But everybody needs to see the value. That's what's important. Everybody needs to understand that if you are a loan officer, you got to figure out a way to get in front of your customers, use the screen, use the camera that you have on your phone, and start talking about video, start talking about your product. I mean, using video. Now, we are running out of time, but I want to ask you, Ryan, you're a very giving person. And because you somehow figured out that when you give, when you share, when you encourage others, it comes back to you many times over. You're a lot like me. You have never turned me down for a conversation or a question, even if you're busy. But you decided to also go in this path and share and do things for others. So you do some things that are, everybody has access to. You have a Facebook page, right? They can always send you a DM. But you also decided to do something which is video coaching. You want to do coaching to help people become better at video. And then you are also doing video for others. So if people want to record their video and they don't know what to do with it, you are now, as part of what you do, you're doing some editing and stuff like that. So tell us briefly about it. How do people get a hold of you if they want to learn more about how to contact you?
Right. Yeah. So it just kind of happened organically. Like, so many people are reaching out. I don't have time to work with every individual person. So what I did is I created a standalone like coaching program that kind of goes step from A to B of like how we develop everything that we do, that people can purchase and then go through. And then the next layer is we have like a small group coaching, like a monthly payment that you go into like a Facebook group. And then that way I can help people. As one person has questions, we can answer all of them and be a little bit more like tight knit and have answers there. And then someone was messing with me. They're like, Ryan, just take your video, make it my video. I'll pay you 50 grand a year. And I was like laughing. I'm like, oh, you're messing with me. And then I thought about it. I was like, oh, maybe there are a lot of people that could benefit from this. So I reached out to him again. I was like, so would you like me to make my video to where it's unbranded to me, so that you can use it, and I put in an intro for you and an outro so that it's your brand and I'm just your spokesperson? He goes, hell yeah. And then another person said, well, I want that, and then I want that. And so now they're getting my quality videos with their branding, and then they're seeing that their video views are going up sometimes 10, 20x from what they were doing before. So now they get a weekly video. So for people that just don't even want to learn it, they don't even want to bother with it, they don't want to get on camera, seems to be a really good resource for people that are looking for that.
That is phenomenal. Thank you so much for sharing that. If people need to get a hold of you, they just go to Facebook, type up his name, send him a direct message, and start a conversation with Ryan. Even if it's just you have a question or you want to learn something, right? Yeah. You want to maybe learn more about what you're doing. It's not necessarily about the money. Your mortgage business is alive and well, obviously, but this is something that we do. Sort of like what I do with the Shining Star Hero program, where we're helping the community to connect with the heroes and connect with realtors through our hero program, is not what we do on a daily basis. It's part of how we give and how we share with others. So I really appreciate you taking time to do this. Just to recap a couple of things, don't be afraid. Get started with video. Use your phone.
Grab your cell phone and shoot.
Right? And then what else? And be consistent. Anything else? Any parting thoughts, Ryan? Anything you want to share with the audience before we head out?
Your first 50 videos are going to be horrible. So just be prepared for that. Like, you're going to hate them. And then even after that, you probably will hate the next 100. And that's one of the biggest things that video creators every single good one will explain to you, is good enough is good enough. If you put in the effort, put it out there, and they'll get better over time. Don't let I need to learn this to stop you from doing it today. And if you're never going to do it, then you need to hire, like Enrique does, a videographer. You need to have somebody that does the videos for you. But if you don't get into the video game, I think it's going to be a huge disadvantage in the next 5 to 10 years. People are going to be left behind because it's going to be so hard to market. If you don't have like a local branded presence, it's going to be really hard to keep up with automation.
I'm going to tell you, we've been running Facebook ads through Lead Pops, and we've been doing the regular print ad, and we just now starting to switch to video because now video is going on paid ads as well. I want to leave you guys with one thought, and I thought of this when you were saying goodbye, and then we'll say goodbye. But the other thing that you talk about, posting, but don't worry so much about what the video looks like, but also don't worry so much about how many likes you're getting. A lot of people are watching the videos, looking at the videos, and they may not be reacting to it. That's why a lot of people quit. I've had people tell me, well, I posted a couple of videos and nobody liked them. So no, this isn't about liking them. This is about watching. I mean, some of the most successful videos that I've had in terms of the amount of people that call or whatever don't have any reaction online. And I stopped watching what the reaction is. I don't really care if people like it. I don't really care if people click on it. I need to be in front of people all the time. And that's really what matters. it would be like door knocking, right? Well, I knocked on 3 doors and nobody opened, so I stopped, right? Or cold calling.
Right.
Everything has to be consistent and everything takes time. I think it's going to be 10, 15, 20 videos before you're actually starting to see money come through the door. But then when
I would
it
even
does, you
say
recognize it.
18 months.
18
months was my 12 to 18 months was my breaking point, to where if I did no other marketing and I just posted organically, I would have enough business to more than support my family. And we run ads and stuff like you, and that's more so for just long-term branding. I'm not
Correct.
doing that to get leads. I like, if the leads come in, great, but I just want people to see me over and over and then become part of my sphere. And it's going to take them another 12 to 18 months of seeing me consistently before they trust me. And that's what it's all about, is the long-term trust that you're gaining within your community. And if you do it right and you do it consistently, even if you're doing 1 to 2 loans, that can turn into 8 to 10 really quick. And then it scales from there. 8 to 10 can turn into 12 to 15, 15 to 20, you name it. Once you get that influence, like, realtors just start calling you. I saw your video. I have some questions. Your friends of friends start calling you. Just people that see your ad call you. Like,
It starts happening.
It's really eye-opening when someone calls you and you hear your video in the background because they're playing it on their computer and they're on their phone.
That's incredible.
It's wild. It's wild.
Very good. Very good. Well, I really
Yep.
appreciate your time. Now, for those watching, I'm gonna leave you with this. Is my most liked post on the Brokers Are Better website ever. I posted something on Brokers Are Better a few years ago when I mentioned that I actually have the shirt that you're wearing, except I don't look like Ryan when I wear it. And that was the most liked picture that I ever had. It was just the funniest thing. So keep doing those push-ups. I'll keep doing video. And Ryan, thank you again. Congratulations to you, to your wife, to your family for success you're having, and also for giving, for being the person that you are and taking time to do this. So I thank you again. I hope you have a great day, and go do some video.
Awesome. Thanks, Enrique. See you later.
Take care.